everybody. This is Grandmaster Damian Lemos for onlinechesslessons.net, and in this DVD we are going to be talking about the center, and we are going to talk about chess in general too. In this introduction we are going to start analyzing a game of the former world champion Capablanca against an unknown. This is an old game, but it's a nice game, and we'll see. We'll try talking about the center here. Capablanca opens the game with e4. Black plays e5, and as white we play knight f3. Nowadays white plays like this too, developing a piece and also winning a big tempo, because here we are attacking the e5 pawn. Black plays knight to c6 and bishop b5, also known as the Spanish game or Ruiz-Lopez variation. We can also play the Italian game by playing bishop c4, or we can try playing the Scotch game by playing d4. Very interesting too. However, the most popular choice for white here is playing bishop b5. And black plays d6. This is, called the Steinitz variation. It's quite solid, and black is defending, the center like this. He's also freeing bishop's c8 diagonal, but the problem here is this bishop, which is on f8, it's gonna be inside the pawn chain. So it's like, here as white, we can already fight for the center, because black is playing passive. He should have played a6, which is the main line. Usually white continues with bishop a4 here, because if we take, black doesn't mind taking and playing with the bishop pair, and we can't win a pawn here because black can take this pawn back by playing queen d4, and then he's gonna play an endgame with the bishop pair. So that is why here, a6, it's more active, and as white we should go bishop a4, I think. That is the main line. If he goes d6, as I said, he's not playing active. He's playing solid, but tight. So we can be aggressive and take control of the center by playing d4. We are creating new threats like d5 or probably d takes e5. So black takes, and we take with knight, and then we are creating a new threat because we are attacking the knight on c6. See, we can already see we have a better center here. The pawn on e4 represents our center, whereas the d6 pawn represents black's center. We have a stronger center, we have more space too. So we have to use this in our favor. Black plays bishop d7, and Capablanca plays knight to c3. This makes a lot of sense. And here black plays bishop to e7. He could have played knight f6 too. That would be interesting. We castle as white. We are finishing our development, and he plays knight f6. Here is black, he could consider playing knight takes d4, but probably queen takes d4. Here the thing is, our queen is doing a nice shove, and I don't think this is great for black, because as I said, we have a powerful queen here, and in order to stop our queen he'll have to play bishop f6. but this is not respecting the opening rules. He's like moving the bishop twice in the opening. Usually you have to try, moving your pieces once, and once you finish your development, then you can consider moving your pieces again. But playing your pieces twice, and if your king is in the center, this is not recommended. Makes sense for black to play knight f6. And here comes an interesting concept by the former world champion by playing knight d2. And here you may ask why white is playing knight d2. Why is he moving his knight back? I think the answer is clear. See, as we said before, e4 represents our center, and it's also offering us the space advantage. So here we have to talk about a middle game concept, which is really useful. Usually when we have more space, it's better to keep pieces on board. On the other hand, if you're lacking space, as black here, what you should do is, trade some pieces off. It's clear that in this position we have more space as white, so it makes a lot of sense to play knight d2. So then we are not trading pieces. As we said, we want to keep pieces on board, so then our space advantage is stronger. See here, black, he would love trading some pieces off. He can't move the queen. He can't move the queen, and that means he can't connect rooks either. Here, black is suffering the space disadvantage. So that is why I think this is interesting, playing knight e5. Despite moving the knight twice in the opening, the idea is clear. He wants to trade some pieces off, so then he has more room for his pieces. He's gonna have more space. Well, we couldn't run away with our bishop, so we play bishop takes d7 check. Bishop a4 doesn't make any sense. He can just take. Well, we can't play this. Bishop c4, we can't play it because the knight is there. And if we go bishop d3, the problem is he can still take, and then he's getting our powerful bishop on d3. And here we can tell another concept. Usually, bishops are better than knights, especially in open positions. So here, as white, we're not interested in playing bishop d3. He's gonna have the chance of playing knight takes d3, and he's getting the bishop pair. This is a big advantage, and the position could be open, soon. So, we'll just trade bishops off. Black takes with the knight. Would be interesting to see what happens if he continues with queen takes. I guess he was afraid of f4 maybe. But black keeps a solid position. By playing this, he's still lacking space. And I would like to share a thought here about the bishops. See our bishop on c1. This is a good bishop. I think this bishop is doing quite well in this position. We could also improve this bishop via b3, bishop b2, and we have a powerful diagonal as well. So we can state we have a good bishop. Regarding black's bishop here on e7, I don't like this bishop much. I mean, it's good for defense, but this bishop is lacking diagonals. It's what we usually call a tall pawn. So, we call this the tall pawn because this bishop, it's like a pawn actually, can't move. It's lacking diagonals. So here as white, we have the better bishop too. So this is a nice positional advantage. So here white goes knight to c3. We have a nice square. This is a nice hold for our knight. And black castles. Yeah, playing c6 is probably too risky because he's leaving some holes around his king as well. Probably bishop h6. It's powerful there, then black is gonna have a hard time, if he wants to castle. And it's great to see that we still have our space advantage here. e4 against d6. We have a nice, setup, and this e4 again represents our center and our space advantage too. So he castles, and here white plays b3. Yeah, you may ask, why not knight f5? I mean, we played knight c3 to play knight f5. Well, that is probably correct, but we just said this bishop on e7 is not a good bishop, so I don't think we are interested in taking it because it's a bad bishop. And our knight on c3 or knight f5, it's a good knight, so here black could try playing like this. And if we get this bishop, I think, in this position it's like we are doing a favor, to black. I mean, black would be happy if he gets rid of this bishop. So that is why Capablanca plays b3. He wants to improve his bishop first, and when he plays knight f5, it's going to be attacking too. So here black plays knight to e8. And well, this should be probably a mistake because he's moving the knight back, and then there won't be any connection here on the first rank. Yeah, I think it's like obvious he wants to improve his bishop by playing bishop f6. But anyway, he's moving his pieces twice. The knight, now the bishop. And okay, now this bishop becomes good, but we can just use logic, we can play knight h5 and we go after this bishop. Black plays bishop to e5 here, so he keeps his bishop, but not for a long time actually, because we can play f4 and black doesn't have any choice here but offering his bishop. See, we'll have a big advantage here because, as we said before, bishops are too powerful. Here black is missing the dark square's bishop, and we have some good targets at kingside. Not to mention we still have our space advantage. He plays knight df6. Well, if he goes g6, that would be terrible from that positional point of view, creating a lot of weaknesses around his king. A move like this would be powerful, we are about to mate him. And as you know, pawns, they can't move back, so before playing something like g6, as black, you should be, pretty sure about this. And playing f6, problem is, okay, we are blockading this bishop, but what about this knight? It's not going to play anymore here. So it's also bad looking for black. He prefers blockading the diagonal using a piece. But, we're not interested in trading pieces off. We just want to come back to c3 with our knight. We are defending this pawn, and maybe in the future we can just keep firing with our pawns. If we took on f6, then this knight on e8 it's improving. When we move the knight back to c3, then this knight on e8 it's not doing much, and he's still lacking space. Queen d7 black plays, and queen d3. simple chess. We just want to play rook a1, placing the rook and our queen in the same file as his queen, and this is gonna, allow us some tactics like e5, rook d8, rook a d1. Again, the former world champion Capablanca was known for playing strong and simple moves, and here we see a great example of that. Queen d3, rook a d1, development moves, but we are gonna play e5 maybe, or some tactics. As we said before, there's no connection in black's first rank, so this is gonna be playing a big role in this game. Here black plays c6, probably another mistake. This move is just too passive. And here white plays knight f5. We are attacking d6, which is weak now. He just played c6. This pawn is weak. And also c7, it's under attack in a lot of variations. So black decides to play d5. But opening that position when you don't have a bishop, it's quite risky. And if black opens that position like this, this should favor our bishop pair. So here black plays knight takes c7, strong move, destroying black's king. And okay, let's see what happens, move by move. If knight takes c7, then I guess after bishop takes f6, we have a big advantage, not to mention queen c3 is coming, and then we can probably mate him. King takes c7 here, it's brave, but I'm under the impression we can just play e5. We want to take our piece back, and when he moves the knight somewhere, c8 or e4, then e6, it's just terrible, we get the queen for free, so we are winning. Otherwise, he'll have to allow e takes f6, and that is too powerful for us. So it's like he cannot take on c7. So that is why he plays d takes e4. Then he wants to take on c7 later, maybe. Or here black wants to trade some pieces off and somehow try to hold this in the endgame. But the problem is, after d takes e4, Capablanca prepared this powerful move, knight takes e8. This is what we usually call the in-between move. We just take a knight, and if he takes the queen with the pawn, then we just take on f6. We just check, and then we are gonna take the queen with check. Yeah, here our material advantage, it's huge, so there's no sense to continue this game. After knight takes e8, well, the other try could be knight takes, but then we can take the queen, or probably queen c3 too. It's winning. There's no reasonable continuation here. Queen takes d3, it's also losing. We can just check him first, and when he moves the king, then we just get our material back, and we are 2 pieces up, bishop and knight. That is too much too. Well, then queen takes, then queen c3, it's powerful. Again, we see how powerful our bishop on c3 is. It was important, in this game, to get the bishop pair. When we played knight h5, and then we took this bishop. When it was on f6, he played bishop e5, and then we played f4. We got his bishop, and then we had a nice attack at kingside. Here, after knight takes e8, well, the game was, we have some more moves here, but after this, I think we are completely winning. There's no reasonable continuation for black here, so White, he's already winning here. So this was a very nice example by Capablanca. Like I said, I think the key was when we played knight h5, and then we were threatening this bishop on f6, and it's great how we played, with this space in this game. Pay attention to that position where we play knight d2, for instance, where we are not trading a lot of pieces. At some point our knight was on h5 and we played knight c3 again. Some positions where we just wanted to keep pieces on board to play with our extra space. The concept we have to remember is this: if you have more space, keep pieces on board. On the other hand, if you're lacking space, go for trade-ins. So I hope you enjoyed this game, and we're gonna continue analyzing in next videos. Thank you.